All right, guys, I promised you, and here we are. Hopefully, this interview will be a thumbs up and not a thumbs down because this week, I promise you, we're bringing you the Death Machine himself. We got Impact Wrestling's own Sami Calahan. Sami, how are you doing, bud?
Yo, I am pleasantly surprised. You actually had a good intro. You got all the facts. You got the Death Machine. You got the Sami Calahan. So you know what? I'm not going to give myself the golf clap. You're getting the golf clap today. Look at that. I'm very pleased. Good way to start the interview.
To keep going with the information, we can see Sami Calahan this Sunday in my backyard of Toronto. You're coming for Rebelluon this Sunday, coming out of the Rebel Complex. Man, listen, I've seen your interviews before on shows like Chris Van Vliet and stuff like that. I've heard the stuff you said about Canada. Rebellion's a big show, though. Are you psyched to come to Canada this time at least?
I actually am. We haven't been to Toronto. We haven't been to the Rebel since before COVID. It's been a couple years. And the Rebel, it holds a dear place in my heart. It's a place for Impact Wrestling. I've had 2 Match of the Year winners at the end of the year. And it's one of those places, it's a building like none other. Like there's screens above the ring, there's crazy lights. It's going to be packed. And I just saw a little rumor today on Twitter. It was sold out, but they were able to free up some space, add some tickets. So if you're in Canada, hell, if you're not in Canada, you want to come to the show, there are limited tickets available. ImpactWrestling.com. See that? That is a good plug. I am very good at interviews.
You know, you just brought me right into my first question because this shows right now you are a businessman. You are all Impact, buddy. And that brings me into my first question. The first thing I really wanted to talk to you about is the people that love Impact. The thing that we love about it, it keeps different. It keeps this revolving door wrestlers coming in and out. It keeps things fresh all the time. But they do keep a large handful of people that keeps Impact what Impact is. You're definitely one of those guys. You got Josh, you got Jordan Grace, guys that keep Impact. We call you, unofficially, we call you the Impact Faithful. You've been there since 2017. You're one of the major reasons Impact has had this turn face in the last few years and is putting out, in my opinion, the best product it ever has. How important is it to you to be an integral part of Impact's comeback story?
Very much so. Sure, I've been world champion. I've been Match of the Year, Moment of the Year, Wrestler of the Year for Impact Wrestling. But being a part of Impact Wrestling and being one of the people that helped turn this company around, being a part of that at the ground level, that means more to me than any championship I could ever win on my resume. Because some people may have wanted to go to other companies. Some people may have wanted to go to Japan. Me, growing up, I was a diehard TNA fan. I went to the shows at the Asylum. I drove 4 hours down from Ohio. It was always TNA's where I wanted to go. TNA's where I want to go. And then getting a chance to come here when Impact Wrestling was at a lull. It was at a down period with the old regime, and having the new regime come in and see the growth exponentially for the last 5 years is absolutely crazy. And being a part of that is one of the best things I could ever think of.
Sami, you're definitely one of the first names that comes up when we talk about some of the more hardcore matches and hardcore moments in Impact Wrestling history. You've had some of the hardest hitting and most exciting matches, especially of the last 5 years. Along with, you're up there with the names like Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. Whether it's your own or not, do you have any go-to favorite hardcore matches from Impact?
Absolutely. One of my favorite matches, not just in Impact, in wrestling history, was at the Impact Zone in Orlando. I think it was either the first or second Lethal Lockdown show. The whole entire event was inside the cage. AJ Styles versus Abyss. One of the craziest cage matches I've ever seen. Also, one of my favorite matches I've ever seen. Then also, I think I'm 90% sure. Nope. It was on a different show. It was actually on Turning Point. America's Most Wanted versus SEX, Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you've seen that clip. And that's something that doesn't just live for a couple weeks. Like, I see in today's generation, like a GIF, a little clip of a wrestling thing might go viral, might get a million views, but in 2 days, everyone forgets about it. That is something that not only for Impact Wrestling and TNA, but wrestling in general is burnt into people's minds and will go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that's what Impact Wrestling does. It creates moments. And I think we create moments better than almost any wrestling company on the planet today.
Agreed. I mean, we're still like, this is, you say what you want. Some people say it's a positive, some people it's negative, but we still talk about your moment with the bat in Eddie Edwards' face. say what it is, but it's a moment that lives in history.
Look, for me and Eddie, I think it's one of the greatest moments in Impact Wrestling history. Hell, right? We were on TMZ. We were on TMZ Sports. Yeah. It was something that I think at that point, maybe it sucked a little bit that Eddie Edwards got his face smashed from a baseball bat, but it was one of the best things that happened to Impact Wrestling at the time, because it didn't matter if you're a wrestling fan overseas, it didn't matter if you're a wrestling fan in the United States and Canada and Mexico and Japan. Everyone in the wrestling world was talking about it. And I think it launched me and Eddie Edwards to that next level of professional wrestling. That's a moment no one can ever take away from us or Impact Wrestling.
I could not agree with you more. Switching topics here, man, you're no stranger to stables. Coming in 2017 as the leader of Ohio versus Everyone. This was one of the reasons.
Everything. It was in our promos. Everything. Actually took that from Terry Funk's old promo where he said forever a lot of times. That. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. You got to show thanks to the people that influence you, and Terry Funk was one of them.
Now, the role you're playing now in the design is very different than what you were in OVE. Lack of a better word, I'm not trying to disrespect you. You're playing almost subservient to Cody Deaner at this point. Is this weird for you? Because you're not that guy. You are a leader. You are the guy people look at and you're top draw. You're the draw, Sami Calahan. So is it weird for you to be playing this role right now behind Cody?
I don't think it's weird. I think it's storytelling.
Yeah.
It's good about professional wrestling. And professional wrestling is like nothing else on the planet as far as entertainment. It's melodrama, it's action, it's horror, it's everything you could ever think of in one thing. And I'm just saying, stick around and watch the story, because Impact Wrestling, we tell stories. We are one of the rare companies that we tell a story from start to finish. There's no ending it in the middle. There's no forgetting about it like it never happened. We tell stories to the best of our ability, and I think we do it better than anyone.
Here at Canada, we call you the murder mystery promotion, and we mean that with the most love, because that's what
people get murdered. We've had multiple people murdered, sucked down to the undead realm, beheaded. Like, things happen to Impact Wrestling. It gets dark. Not gonna lie.
Speaking of Deaner, this show is broadcasted out of Ontario, Canada. I literally spent the majority of my formative years watching Deaner on the local indie scene. I grew up with Deaner. He's a pretty damn big deal over here. So for my listeners, do you have any cool stories about getting to know Deaner backstage?
One word. He's underrated. Like, I think it's one of those things. Deaner, it doesn't matter. He can be a beloved comedy character, and he can be a hated cult leader. I think Cody Deaner is one of the most underrated people in professional wrestling, not only on the mic, but in the ring. And I think it's one of those things, like, people are finally starting to see how talented he truly is. And he's a guy, I think, if if all the planets align, he could be a huge star in professional wrestling. I think he's on the way to just that.
I couldn't agree with you more. Speaking as a huge star, you yourself you're a former world champion right there in Impact.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. And there's no way we as fans believe that you're anywhere close to being done with that title picture. Listen, this Sunday you're going to be really busy. Your hands are going to be full with Santino, Dirty Dango, and Joe Hendry.
Snake guy. You got to watch out. He'll strike you.
Cobra.
I've been watching tape. I'll bite a finger off if I have to. I've been watching tapes. Straight up.
I love that. With all that said and done, though, how close are you paying attention to Macklin versus Kushida?
I'm always paying attention to whatever's happening on the show. Like, I watch the show from start to finish, and I'm always watching people. Hell, Steve Macklin is a guy that you look at my promotion, the Wrestling Revolver. He's the world champion. He's a guy that I've had good times and bad times with. You've seen that at Impact Wrestling, but he's a guy I think, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, I think he's one of the best things going right now. And I think people are finally starting to see that. Yeah. And I would not be surprised if he becomes Impact Wrestling World Champion this Sunday at Rebelluon, at the Rebel in Toronto, live on pay-per-view. Look at that.
I do not need to ask you my next two questions, because you answered that. I was asking who the right person coming out of this match was. I think
Kushida's great. Kushida's one of the best technical wrestlers on the planet, but I think right now is Macklin's time. I think he's hungry. I think he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's ready to show the world that, look, some other companies may have not known what they had, but right now I'm one of the greatest professional wrestlers walking this planet today. He's got my vote. Like hell, like he doesn't miss. You put him in any situation, he is a bad son of a bitch. Like he's not afraid to get a little rough, a little hardcore. Hell, he's not afraid to trade blows with the best. Like Steve Macklin is the epitome of consistent and versatile professional wrestling, and he's everything that I love about professional wrestling in a wrestler.
I mean, truthfully, I really hope we one day get that Macklin versus Josh match.
They've been teasing us.
Yeah. One day we will get that. I think that's going to be a banger. What also will be a banger will be the eventual Macklin versus Callihan match.
Look, we over this past summer, we got a little crazy. Like Steve Macklin's a guy I'd get in the ring with every night of the week, and we beat the piss out of each other. And I do it with a smile on my face. He is a guy that I want to see succeed because he is good for professional wrestling. He is good for this business. He is good for everything our generation of professional wrestlers are trying to be.
Now we're going to get a little reel right here, getting close to the end. Our official Impact correspondent, Adam Contant, sent me in this question specifically for you, being a veteran and being somebody that a lot of people respect. There's an issue apparently in the wrestling community right now, be it the indies or not, involving newcomers and new hands, young generation stars coming in and asking for pictures and whatnot with the vets they meet at the show. Some vets seem that this is highly disrespectful, while others.
The fact that this is even an argument is stupid. Like, look, if you want to take a picture of someone, take a picture of someone. It's not that big of a deal. Like, hell, if Terry Funk was on a show, I'm taking a picture with Terry Funk. And it's one of those things like, I think that's why Impact Wrestling right now is so special, because in our locker room, that shit doesn't happen. There's not this animosity of people fighting with each other of who can take pictures and what. All we're worried about is having the best show every week and having the best pay-per-views in professional wrestling. And we continue to do that, not just one person, but as a damn team.
And this is why I was asked to ask you. Nobody is as honest as the draw Sami Calahan. We love the honesty here on this show, and thank you for that. This is what people need to hear. People need to learn how to let go of the bullshit, right? Stop hanging on to your preconceived notions of what wrestling should be and go have fun with it.
Just have fun. Professional wrestling is supposed to be fun at the end of the day. It's supposed to make you feel like there is zero reason for the animosity between fans, the animosity between wrestlers. Everyone work together and have a great time. And that's what we do here at Impact Wrestling.
Now, before I let you go, there's a question I got to ask you. It's a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'll just do it one question. I'll give you two options. Give me the thumbs up on one, thumbs up on the other one. Right here on this show, my partner and I are both massive, major fans, diehard fans of a certain Cincinnati football team.
That's my team, bro. You don't even want to see my house.
I meant to say Ohio, so I buried the lead. Because I know you're from Ohio.
Yeah. I hate the Cleveland Browns. I don't mess with the Browns. I'm gonna turn my thing. You'll be able to see just Bengals memorabilia everywhere. Bengals.
Favorite.
Bengals.
We're diehard Bengals fans over here. We don't have a Canadian football team. So
I had season tickets last year. It was a great time. The Bengals, I've been a diehard Bengals fan since I was in diapers. Yeah. And to see them having the success they have, the Cincinnati Bengals kind of feel like Impact Wrestling. They may have been counted down and out, but now they are showing the world exactly how dangerous they can be.
Man, if I needed a reason to like Sami Calahan even more, he's a Bengals fan. I don't know why I'm even surprised. There's no way this guy could have been a Browns fan. Sami, thank you so much for being here, man. We are going to see you this coming Sunday. Do you have
this Sunday? Yeah. If you want tickets, we have few left. Go to impactwrestling.com, snatch them up. If you can't be at the show this weekend in Toronto, watch it on pay-per-view. It's not hard. You don't have to go to satellite provider, pick up a box. You click a button, you can watch it. It's extremely simple. Technology is great. But this Sunday, live on pay-per-view from the Rebel in Toronto, Canada, everyone tune in to Impact Wrestling presents Rebelluon, and I guarantee you will have a great time.
On behalf of Counted Out, we have been Counted Out. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, Sami.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.